Alrighty, class is back in session today at Eagle Crest High School. The school was closed after the deaths of two educators, one from a suspected meningitis infection. 9 News reporter Brianna Fernandez joins us live from the newsroom. Brianna, it's unknown if the second staff member's death is related to this.
Yeah, exactly. So the school has lost 2 educators in 1 week, and both of them work together in the school's integrated learning center, which serves students with special needs. And now health officials are investigating whether bacterial meningitis is involved in their deaths. So we know that 24-year-old teacher Maddie Schmidt had symptoms consistent with bacterial meningitis, a contagious and potentially deadly infection. The Cherry Creek School District confirms Judith Jeffroy also died over the weekend, and the Arapahoe County coroner hasn't determined a cause of death on either of these cases. Still, health officials are reaching out to the students or anyone who came in contact with the teacher and giving them antibiotics to be safe.
Persons who are in close contact for a prolonged period of time, it is possible to spread that from person to person. And at least how the CDC generally defines close contact would be more than 8 hours and really close, like within 3 feet.
So we know bacterial meningitis is incredibly contagious, but it is rare. Now, according to the state health department, Colorado averages 7 cases a year. And so far this year, there has been 6 reported cases. As for the high school, they will be going back to school today, but the integrated learning center, they will be closed for the rest of the week.
Very concerning here. Thank you, Brianna, for that report.
Well, right now, Colorado State Patrol needs your help to find the driver who killed a 16-year-old pedestrian and then took off. It happened around 7:45 Tuesday night near 76th and Layden by Monaco Elementary. Family tells us the victim was Carolyn Kincaid. CSP says a driver in a red Dodge Magnum hit the girl while she was in the crosswalk. A person living near the scene says she rushed over to give Kincaid CPR, but that it wasn't enough to save her life.
And she had a whole life. Could have been yours. Could have been your sister, it could have been your kid, it could have been your cousin, could have been your neighbor.
Several of the neighbors say they have been calling for speed bumps to be put in the area, but feel like they're not being heard. If you can help with this crash, you can call investigators with CSP.
And I yelled to the boys, "He's got a gun, run."
Nearly 5 years after a trip to the dentist ended in violence, Megan Bigelow was finally able to testify against the man accused of killing one of her sons. In 2018, she was driving her 3 boys to a dentist appointment in Westminster. But when she tried pulling over for an emergency vehicle, investigators say another driver, Jeremy Webster, started screaming at Bigelow for coming into his lane. Bigelow says Webster followed her into the parking lot of the dentist's office, where he screamed at her again and then pulled out a gun.
I heard the gun go off, and I dropped to the ground. I was shot again in the head, and I remember thinking, are you kidding me? I'm already down.
Prosecutors say Webster then shot 2 of her 3 sons. Her youngest, 7-year-old Asa, was seriously hurt but did survive. Her oldest, 13-year-old Vaughn Jr., was killed. Webster has pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity. Webster's lawyer chose not to make an opening statement.
What a disturbing story. Criminal charges against former Clear Creek County Sheriff's deputies will proceed. A judge declined to drop charges against the deputies accused in the death of Christian Glass. Andrew Buin faces several charges, including second-degree murder for shooting and killing Glass. Kyle Gould, Buin's supervisor, was not at the scene of the shooting. He faces a charge of criminally negligent homicide. Glass called 911 last June after getting his car stuck in Silver Plume. Throughout the 70-minute call, Buin aggressively tries to get Glass to exit his car. A judge wrote Buin intentionally and maliciously caused harm by shooting and killing Glass, saying the malicious intent is seen in Buin's aggressive behavior during that call. The judge says there's probable cause against Gould since he was watching this whole incident on a live stream through a police body camera. The grand jury says Gould gave the order to break into Glass's car to get him out, which ultimately led to the shooting. The Glass family has released a statement through their attorney yesterday saying they're pleased the criminal charges will go forward. They say the other officer on the scene that night should also face charges in Christian's death because they did nothing to intervene.
The parents of the teen killed in the STEM school shooting in Highlands Ranch are in a legal fight with the school district. Kendrick Castillo's parents want the thousands of documents tied to his case made public. 18-year-old Kendrick was shot and killed nearly 4 years ago when he ran towards two other students who had opened fire in the school. The Castillo family believes the confidential information they have seen is showing a failure in school safety and security practices. Lawyers for Douglas County Schools and STEM School are arguing making certain safety and security protocols public will act like a blueprint for another violent act. A decision will be made about what will or will not be made public at another hearing that's likely in a couple of weeks. New this morning, a federal appeals court partially blocked last week's ruling on the abortion pill. Last week, a U.S. district judge suspended the FDA approval of mifepristone. Late Wednesday, an appeals court granted the Justice Department's request to put the ruling on hold while it was considering the case.
The Biden administration is proposing new health privacy protections. It would prevent health information being used to investigate or sue people who get or facilitate an abortion. The proposal by the Department of Health and Human Services would strengthen existing HIPAA laws. Under this proposal, protected health information could not be used to investigate, prosecute, or sue people seeking abortions. The rule would also protect healthcare providers, insurers, or anyone who performs or pays for one. U.S. officials say doctors have voiced concerns about protecting that medical information from law enforcement. The public can weigh in on this proposed rule for the next 60 days.
The air was extra icky in Commerce City because the Suncor refinery there was spewing some extra stuff into the air. The state health department says it detected higher than normal levels of sulfur dioxide around the refinery. A piece of equipment went offline, causing a flare of acid gas into the air. The chemical can make it harder to breathe, make asthma worse. The health department says the pollution didn't last long enough to violate federal rules. Suncor is restarting plants that have been closed for months now. From December through March, the refinery's reports to the state regulators show that it violated air quality permits every 3 days on average.
And one thing to know about your weather today, we do have a red flag warning that goes into effect noon today, lasts through 8 o'clock tonight for the eastern half of Colorado due to dry conditions, winds gusting up to 45 miles per hour and very low humidity.